What's going on, Jets fans? Welcome into NYJ today. In this video, I'm going to be discussing Joe Douglas and the immense amount of pressure that he is under this offseason to not only get the Jets in position to win more football games in the future, but to get them competing for a playoff spot starting in 2022. Let's go ahead and get after it. Before I get into the video, if I could get you to please jet up the like button, and if you're new here and you enjoy the content, please consider subscribing to the channel. I do want to let you know we'll be live this upcoming Wednesday, and we'll be discussing all things Jets offseason. The link for that stream will be in the description. To start out, I want to make sure it's crystal clear. I am personally a big believer in Joe Douglas as the general manager of the New York Jets. Not everything he has touched has turned to gold, but his philosophy of offensive line and defensive line as the foundation of a football team, I personally agree with and love. I think that is the way football games are simply won and lost in the NFL. And again, I love the way that he approaches the NFL draft, accumulating draft picks and then being able to have flexibility on draft day and during the offseason. I really do think that is the correct approach, again, when building a football team. Using free agency as a supplement to your team, to building it and making sure that you fill needs, I think is also the correct approach. The thing that I want to make sure that is, also, message to you all is that Joe Douglas also has pressure on him this offseason. A 6-27 record over the last 2 seasons, it's not good enough. And it doesn't matter how good his philosophy is. It doesn't matter how he approaches the draft and free agency. Joe Douglas has to start getting this football team to win more football games and to be a competitive football team that could potentially land in the playoffs.
Playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs. You kidding me? Playoffs? I just hope we can win a game.
Yes, Jim Mora, the playoffs. I'm not talking crazy here. We have an example over the last 2 seasons that perfectly matches up and meshes with the New York Jets. And so I'm going to use the example of the Cincinnati Bengals, who just advanced, as of the recording of this video, just advanced to the AFC Championship game in the playoffs. And so take a look at the 2020 Cincinnati Bengals. They were 4-11-1. So they had a terrible season. They were the worst team in their division. And then they flipped the script. 2021 rolls around. Joe Burrow's now entering his second year. They add more weapons and more, good players to their football team, and they completely turn it around. They're 10-7 in 2021, win the AFC North, and again, advancing all the way, as of right now, to the AFC Championship game. That's one example. Does it always happen that way? For sure, absolutely not. Again, I want to make sure it's crystal clear. Joe Douglas has to get the Jets trending in that right direction. It doesn't have to be the New York Jets representing, the AFC in the Super Bowl next year, and they certainly don't have to make it all the way to the AFC Championship game. They need to begin winning football games, though, and that definitely means closer to that 500 mark, either 8-9, 9-8. I don't see why that's unrealistic to expect. And again, you look over the course of NFL history, teams flip the script, going worst to first, or even just worst to the playoffs the following season. Some of you might be watching this video right now and saying, dude, did you even watch the 2021 season where we went 4-13? Did you even watch the 2020 season where we ended up with the number 2 overall draft pick? The answer is yes, I did. And I know there are many holes and there's a lot of room for improvement. But if you take a look at the offseason, assets that Joe Douglas has at his disposal, there is really no reason to say that the Jets can't be competitive in 2022. You look at cap space. Right now we're projected for $48 million in cap space, and that is pre-offseason cuts. We haven't even made our first cut of the offseason unless you're counting Shaq Lawson. There are numerous guys, though, and we're going to save millions of dollars by making these moves. So the New York Jets are going to be spenders in free agency. And, how Joe Douglas decides to spend the money is, hard to predict. But I would be shocked if he didn't go out there and get more guys along the lines of a Carl Lawson, a Corey Davis. He's going to spend money. And I think that's like a misconception that people have about Joe Douglas, is that he doesn't want to spend money or pay big bucks. Those were not necessarily cheap contracts that he gave out to those players. And so he's got to go find the players in free agency that are going to help this team to turn it around. Then you pivot, and then you take a look at the draft, the assets that Joe Douglas has accumulated over the 2 years. We hold 2 first-round picks, 2 of which in the top 10 of the NFL draft. 2 second-round picks. We hold a third-round pick. We hold 5 draft picks in the top 69 of this draft. We have 2 picks in rounds 1, 2, 4, and 5. There is major draft capital that Joe Douglas absolutely has to hit on. He needs to consider trading up in some circumstances. I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility. A similar trade that we saw with Elijah Vera Tucker in the last draft class. Go and get the guys that you believe in and that you know can help to fix the defense and the offense. And don't hesitate. I think that's the other thing. Be aggressive, Joe Douglas. And I know he's spent money and he has made moves in the past that were aggressive. I urge him and I want him to continue to be very aggressive this offseason. There's really no excuse, guys. 4 wins last season. Why can't they double it? I talked about it in just the last segment. The Cincinnati Bengals more than doubled their win total from 2020 going into 2021. If the Jets go find some playmakers for Zach Wilson, if they go get him some protection in free agency and in the draft, and if they go find some guys that have a lot of speed and can make big plays on defense, we can do this. And I think that's something that Jets fans have to get used to hearing this offseason is it a guarantee that we wind up flipping the script and going to the playoffs next season? No. But why can't we have that expectation of Joe Douglas? And I think that's what I want to leave this video on, is making sure that we all ask ourselves, why can't we flip the script? Why can't we go ahead and be a competitive team in 2022? So I'm going to leave it there. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Is Joe Douglas under pressure in 2022, this offseason, to get things turned around? I would love to hear what you guys have to say. Go Jets, and I'll see you guys next time.